Greetings, barbecue family. Welcome to another live episode of the Backyard SmokeMaster Barbecue Podcast. Happy New Year. Thank you for tuning in. This is the best hour of the week. It's the hour that we get to talk about our favorite pastime, barbecue. So I'm very happy that you are here. Please don't be shy. Jump in the comments. Say hello, jump in at any time. Let me know what's on your mind related to barbecue. If I don't have an answer, there's usually someone who's also watching that probably does have an answer or a pretty good idea. It's that type of a community. So again, I'm thrilled to have you here, and your comments are the engine that drives the show. So definitely appreciate you spending some time on this Friday. So as we head into 2025, I saw an article on the internet, 11 grilling trends for 2025. And this is by Stephen Raichlen. You guys know him. He's the author of the Barbecue Bible. I didn't go deep into looking at the article. I wanted to react to it on the podcast, to the 11 things that he's suggesting are going to be hot for 2025. But before we dive into that, let's get into some of these comments. So hello, let's say hello to the Real Meat Stick, who says, how's it going? Well, I think it's going great. Like I said, this is the best hour of the week. Hello to Jeff. He says, greetings to all. Smoke Builder says, yo. I like that. Nice, simple, straight to the point. Thank you, Smoke Builder, for tuning in. We appreciate having you. And we've got Bruce, aka Correctional Officer for Lockdown, who says, Happy New Year. Says, Happy New Year to myself, to Jeff, Real Meat Stick, Smoke Builder. Yes, Happy New Year to you all. Thank you for tuning in. So let's get into this. Let me pull up, see if I can get this to come up here. And of course, I'm already having technical difficulties. That didn't take long, but here we go. So this is kind of like my Cliff Note version. If I need to get into more detail, I'll click over to the actual article itself. And as you guys, as we go through this, feel free to react to some of these items. But the first thing that Stephen talks about are high performance charcoal grills. So let's take a closer look as to what he means by that. And basically, I think what he's basically saying here is, and we've seen this, most people get their start in barbecue, maybe getting a propane, a gas grill, and Stephen Raichlen is saying we're going to start seeing a shift. I think over the last few years, we've seen that pellet grills have grown in popularity as, they provide a lot of technological bells and whistles. They're just as easy to use, probably even easier to use than a gas grill, because you can just dial up the exact number that you want your temperature to be at. But he's saying that in 2025, we will see charcoal grilling stage a major comeback. He says that charcoal sales are up, especially in the premium category. And forgive me if I butcher this, but he mentions the Kibacho charcoal from South America, or the Bincho Tan from Japan. So he's saying, this is what we should be looking on the lookout for. I know myself personally, I've got my eye on a charcoal-based large cabinet smoker. So yeah, I agree. I like this trend, and I do think that if you're going to get into barbecue, really, what you really should be doing is learning how to use a charcoal-based barbecue. I mean, I know propane is easy, pellet grills are easy, but to really start to get into the true, authentic flavor of barbecue, I think charcoal is the gateway. And of course, cooking with wood splits like a stick burner, offset smoker, that's really going to get you in there. So let me see here. Okay, we've got some more comments coming in. Hello to Francisco. Thank you for tuning in. Let me get that. These comment has been sitting across my face all this time. Let me move that over there. All right. And so lots of good activity happening here in the chat. I definitely appreciate that. Bruce, aka correctional officer for lockdown, says the smoke slinger is my goal. I will surely have it by the end of spring, and that the smoke slinger has caught my eye. Okay, now, and this is what usually happens on the podcast, is someone will mention something that I have never heard of. The smoke slinger, and you guys are just all over it. And this is what I love about barbecue, because we're constantly seeing innovation, new grills, new smokers, and that's a nice looking smoker here. I like what I see. Is this like a cabinet smoker? Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can get some more pictures here. So yeah, this looks pretty good. And yeah, and they describe it as a beast that does it all. Charcoal grill over direct heat. Okay, so cooking over live fire or with indirect heat using removable tuning plates. Create different temperatures on each side. Okay, so that's kind of like 2-zone cooking. Maintain steady temperatures. Easy learning curve. 24 inches deep by 48 inches wide. Let's see, this is, okay, it's American made, manufactured, built in Kaufman, Texas. Trying to see what the overall cooking area is. But yeah, this looks pretty intriguing. I like it. And it looks pretty badass. Let me see here. I think we got some more. I see another comment about the smoke slinger. Real Meat Stick says the smoke slinger is the most universal cooker on the market. It cooks offset, reverse offset, direct heat, indirect, pizza oven, and a hog cooker, just to name a few. Okay, now that always, as soon as someone mentions something that can cook a hog, then you're going to get a lot of chatter about that. And correctional officers says there are 2 individuals in the room who can provide you with information. Okay, so do we have a couple of people? I mean, what does that mean? Are you guys like representatives of the company, or do you guys own them already? I am absolutely intrigued, and I would love to know, does this smoke slinger, when it says that it can cook a hog, are we talking about a large, like 100-pound hog? Or are we talking about a suckling pig? What are we talking about? So definitely let me know. So I'm intrigued. Hello to Paul. Good to see you, Paul. My native Bay Area neighbor. And Jeff says the Pit Boss Champion barrel smoker is starting to call to me. So yeah, definitely a lot of people I think are pretty excited about or agree with what Stephen Reichlen's prediction that the that charcoal based grills are going to make a big time comeback. Okay, Real Meat Stick says the Smoke Slinger is all 1/4 inch US steel, fabricated by US welders right here in the USA. God bless America. And says that you can make a 30-pound suckling pig on the Smoke Slinger. Okay, that sounds good. That is, we've been talking about. Yeah, the guys in the chat have been trying to encourage me to take on the challenge of doing a whole hog or a suckling pig, especially like a whole hog. If we're gonna have like a pig picking party, needs to be something big, but I got to get my feet wet first, and probably a suckling pig would be the way to go. And it sounds like the Smoke Slinger would be ideal. And Bruce says the cooking space is perfect for you with your planned hog. Stay tuned for the next generation of smoke slingers in 2025. Okay, so it sounds like this has been around for a while. I'm intrigued because I had not heard of the smoke slinger until just now, but it sounds like we're going to get more iterations of the smoke slinger this year. So this is good. I'm definitely going to keep this on my radar, and I would love to hear, if there is a relationship about with the smoke slinger, would love to talk to you guys on the podcast. So definitely let me know. Let me know if we have a representative or anything like that from Smoke Slinger. We'd love to talk to someone and get more in depth because this is a very good looking smoker. Let's see. Okay, now Bruce says, I invited an individual, Dave, to the room. He has informed me that both him and Frank are in the room. Okay. And Real Meat Stick says the charcoal baskets in the Smoke Slinger are removable along with the rails. So I think that would definitely facilitate the ability to do like a suckling pig. He says you can pitch hot coals directly into the bottom of the Smoke Slinger so you can cook like Rodney Scott and Sam Jones. All right, and okay, let's see. Frank, Smoke Builder, and David, Real Meat Stick, are the guys. Okay. Well, okay. Like I said, I'm intrigued and would love to, maybe have a conversation live on the podcast in the future. So hopefully maybe if you guys can leave me your contact information and I can get in touch, that would be great. Definitely, that would be great. Would love to talk to someone about it more. And Dustin is excited as well. He says, I want one. So this looks outstanding. All right. So definitely we have a proof and a lot of excitement about charcoal making a comeback. Now, the next item, the next trend, and speaking of whole hog cooking, Now, Stephen is saying that whole steer cooking is going to become a trend. And actually, this is when I saw this is what caught my attention about this article. And I thought, oh, I should talk about this on the podcast here, because he's saying, let me get to this. Yeah, he's saying more and more pitmasters have turned to barbecuing a whole steer, and no one does it better than Javier Mieja of Big Hobbs Barbecue and Al Frugani of Open Fire Cooking. Forgive me if I'm butchering names here. Says to cook a whole steer, you'll need some special equipment like an axe to split the backbone so you can butterfly the cow just like you'd spatchcock a chicken, and a tractor with a hydraulic lift to hoist the 400-pound carcass onto an oversized heavy-duty barbecue cross. My goodness. And he says that you can expect that you would need at least 12 to 20 hours to cook your steer to smoky perfection. And there's apparently Javier and Al have an instructional video. There it is, Open Fire Whole Steer. So before I even get my feet wet cooking a whole hog, Stephen is saying that the next trend for 2025 is moving on to a whole steer. My goodness. Okay. Now Bruce says, he says his wife has already been informed. She just bought a tray of cheese, salami, and crackers. That means she's plotting for some shopping tomorrow. Okay, so I can tell that Bruce is in here, being strategic to do some negotiating with his wife. I know he's trying to obtain, that next smoker for his collection. Real Meat Stick says that guy Al Frugani in Hobby look familiar. Get a closer look. Okay, I'm not sure. I don't know, but maybe they are. So if you guys in the comments, if you guys are familiar with these guys, definitely let us know. So that's pretty intriguing that we're moving into whole steer cooking. Now, next on the list is barbecue fusion. So here he's basically saying barbecue goes ethnic, and this is basically where, and this makes sense, that you can basically take traditional barbecue and begin to marry it with flavors, techniques from all over the world. I mean, it's basically, cooking is universal, right? Like pulled pork egg rolls, tiger cry beef, Thai sausage dumplings. All of these things can be done on the barbecue, and this is even more exciting stuff that we can experiment with. So I love that as well. Okay, now Jeff says whole steer cooking, I'm happy to be a spectator on that one. Yeah, I would definitely need to see some videos. Would love to have an opportunity to see that happen live for sure. Like I said, I think the hog is like high aspirations, but doing a whole steer, that has to be completely next level. Correctional officer says, I think the trend is also going to be how to tweak grilling with making mods. Okay, yeah. Smoke Builder has a vast wealth of knowledge for making grills and using engineering principles. And I think that's always been, popular, especially with things, tried and true, like with Weber kettle, or really just anything. I think we all love to, make the grill, make the smoker our own. And I think that's also why, we see so many wonderful accessories available because everyone wants to make some additional tweaks to, further enhance the cooking experience. Real Meat Stick says, I believe Al does something called the live fire meetup. Okay. All right, that's good to know. That's good to know. I'm definitely going to check this out because I am absolutely intrigued. Absolutely intrigued. Okay. Now, while you guys are watching, let me remind you, please subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the channel, Backyard SmokeMaster Barbecue. Like this episode if you like what you see so far. And most important of all, tell your friends about us. We're trying to build our community of folks who watch the podcast live. We try to be here live every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 Central, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and definitely would appreciate, you guys sharing the podcast. Now, Real Meat Stick said to Smoke Builder, you were there. So referring to Al's show. And okay, I think he's saying that he subscribed to the show. I thought maybe he actually was on it before. But yeah, definitely we want to share our resources, share our knowledge of barbecue. That's part of what makes barbecue such a communal experience for us guys who love it as a pastime, sharing information and upping everyone's knowledge. Okay, next up on the list, we have fire domes. So let me see what that is all about here. So barbecue domes. So also could be referred to as grill cages or barbecue jungle gyms. You've seen them on social media and a growing number of food festivals and grill fests. So I don't know, have you guys seen this? Giant metal cages formed from rebar, pipe, and wire positioned over a campfire. So from this you can use them to hang whole chickens, picanhas, lamb shoulders, rack of ribs, and all manner of whole vegetables and fruits. So that's pretty interesting. Have you guys seen these barbecue domes? I don't think I've seen them in person. I feel like I've actually seen Stephen Raichlen demonstrate this on one of his shows. I think he has a show that comes on PBS, and I'm pretty sure I've seen it there, or maybe I saw it, like on his Instagram or something like that. But definitely let us know in the comments, if you guys have seen it. Okay, next up, we have griddles galore. Yes, I mean, now we see, I just saw it over at Ace Hardware the other day. Oh, there's a picture of this dome. So that definitely is next level live fire cooking. But yeah, for griddles, I was saying I just saw at Ace Hardware, I saw Weber's version of the griddle. And when Weber starts making something or adding something to their repertoire, that it's definitely, they see the potential there. We've seen Blackstone with the flat top griddle for a long time, and then also Camp Chef. These are extremely versatile, usually with propane, so they're easy to operate, versatile. You can set them up to do multiple zones. You could have 2-zone cooking, 3-zone cooking, each section of the flat top at a different temperature. And that allows you to, basically you can do like a whole meal on a flat top. I'm a big fan of the flat top. And that's something that has caught my eye. Getting back to the barbecue domes, I see some comments here. Jeff said that barbecue domes are new to him. Real Meat Stick says the dome sounds like an upside down discata. And Bruce, Bruce says, I'm interested in experimenting with the vortex setup for a kettle grill. Now that would be interesting. I have a vortex. I have the Hunsaker drum smoker, and they have their own version of a vortex. And I know that they also, I believe they've made it so that it can be adapted to use in a Weber Smoky Mountain. So that's an interesting concept about using it with a kettle. Jeff says the Vortex is a great tool, really great way for crispy wings on the kettle. Real Meat Stick commenting on griddles. They're like plancha. They are great for making the Tex-Mex breakfast foods. Short order cooking works awesome over a live fire with charcoal grill. That's a great point. You could have, you don't necessarily have to have a full-on flat top griddle. You can buy a griddle accessory with your charcoal grill, like a Kamado Joe, Big Green Egg, Weber kettle. You can get a flat top, a griddle, a griddle accessory, cooking over charcoal, wood, and that definitely adds a whole nother level of versatility to your charcoal based grill. So that's a great point. Bruce says that live fire grill looks like a birch barrel grill. Yeah, that's an interesting, I'm looking at it again here. That is definitely an interesting device. Would love, I know that these live fire guys would probably have a ball, cooking with something like that. And I'm betting that you should be able to raise and lower, the proteins as well, kind of like a Santa Maria style cooker. So that's pretty interesting. Okay, next up, Tomahawks everywhere. All right, let me see. I think I have an idea what that means, but let me scroll down. Okay, I'm not really seeing it, but Tomahawks everywhere. So I don't know. Maybe he's saying like tomahawk steaks are going to become all the rage. Not quite sure. So it's kind of out of sync with what I'm looking at here. But while we got it up here, he also mentions personal pizza ovens. So these have also really caught my eye. Kind of always had my eye, at a personal pizza oven. Just haven't added that to my arsenal yet. But I think it would be awesome, to have something like that. And there are some really good options available here, like the Uni Solo Stove and the Gosney. So definitely curious. We haven't really talked about the dedicated kind of pizza ovens on the podcast. And I know they can also be used to cook other things like a steak, because you can get that really high temperature on these pizza ovens. So I'm curious if you guys in the chat, if you guys have experience using pizza ovens, and is there one that you recommend? Like, do you have a favorite? Do you use it on a regular basis? We'd love to know you guys' thoughts on that. Okay. I'm trying to catch up here in the comments. I think this might be related to, well, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, Jeff was asking Bruce, correctional officer, about feeding something to capacity. And Jeff said, I do fill it up. It focuses, I think the vortex. I think we're talking about the vortex. And Jeff said, I do fill it up. It focuses the heat and cranks the heat and keeps the kettle really hot. The vortexes come in different sizes. I have a medium. Yeah, I have a medium one as well. This is like the accessory, I believe, that you're talking about, kind of shaped like a funnel, kind of narrow at the top, and then expands towards the bottom, and you put your charcoal in there, and it gives you that real focused heat. And I have one that I use with my kettle. Also have one that I use with my Weber Summit Kamado. So Real Meat Stick says, with regard to the backyard pizza oven, he recommends the Cook Shack backyard pizza oven. Okay, that is good to know. Okay, and see, again, I'm familiar with uni. I'm familiar with Gosney. Haven't heard of the Cook Shack pizza oven. Okay. And I see, wow, these look pretty darn expensive. So that would definitely be outside of my, I'm not going to start there. So I don't know. Is there a particular one? I see a bunch here that range from looks like 1,600. This one over here, over $6,000. Let's see. Okay, let's go to the website. Cook Shack pizza oven. Okay, so they've got residential and they've got commercial. I'm hoping that these first ones that I saw, maybe those were commercial ovens. Okay, now this is more my speed here. Okay, so we've got a variety to choose from on the residential level. Interesting. I mean, some of these look kind of like cabinet smokers. Okay, and I see a few of them are powered with pellets. Kind of curious about this first one here, the Smokeat Elite stainless steel with digital controller and meat probe. Ooh, so that makes it really easy to operate. Weighs about a little bit more than 85 pounds. It uses, let's see, it says a half ounce of wood for every 60 pounds of product. So I'm curious, tell me more. Is this one based on, do they just cook with pellets? Do they have any that cook with charcoal? Or are these or maybe these are large enough. Maybe they're cooking with small wood splits. Maybe that's what we're talking about here, like 4 to 5 inch wood splits. And that would be really cool. Would love to know a bit more about that. Hold on. Okay, so there's more. I kind of missed the comments here. Okay. Real Meat Stick says the PZ016. If you buy the Cook Shack PZ016, you should also get the stainless steel cart. So the $1,600 model. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay, there it is, PZ016. So, okay, this is a pellet-fired pizza oven. Okay. Rear-loading, gravity-fed pellet hopper, 6-pound capacity. Provides up to 2.5 hours runtime without refueling. Gets up to, looks like 900 degrees Fahrenheit. Takes about 25 minutes to reach 700 degrees stone temperature. Ooh, it weighs 106 pounds. And capacity is one large pizza up to 16-inch diameter. So, I look at the Cook Shack and I can see why you're recommending it. My reaction just from seeing it for the first time, especially the stainless steel, kind of makes the unis look like toys. and this looks like the real deal. That's kind of my initial impression. And I think that kind of comes across in the pricing as well. Like the unis, not, you know, I'm not throwing shade at uni because I've never used one, but they always seem to be, you know, kind of priced between 700, $1,000, and this seems next level. So this is pretty awesome. Thanks for making this recommendation. I'm gonna have my my homework after the show. Okay, Real Meat Stick says all of these Cook Shack units are pellet fired, and Plowboys Barbecue says the Cook Shack cabinets are electric elements that can smoke with pellets or chips. The Fast Eddies are pellet fired. All right, this is great information. All right, so that's another hot trend: personal pizza ovens. Okay, Cowboy butter everywhere. Okay, there's a couple of pictures of the unis. Okay, there's his commentary about the Tomahawks. You know, and Steven he's so international. You know, he's talking about how he was on vacation on St. Bart's in the French West Indies, and virtually every type of restaurant he went to had a high ticket item on the menu. It was a beef tomahawk. So he's saying tomahawks are going to be hot in 2025. Okay, and Cowboy butter everywhere. All right, guys. So if you want to level up your steaks in 2025, he's saying you got to get on this trend of Cowboy butter. The basic elements are butter, minced garlic or shallot, parsley or other fresh herbs, and paprika, plus cayenne or hot pepper flakes to turn up the heat. And then with everything, you know, you can customize. So other flavorings might include mustard, horseradish, or Worcestershire sauce. Let's see, and there are at least 3 ways to use Cowboy butter: melted for basting, creamed for dipping and dolloping, and frozen for slicing and melting atop grilled steaks. All right. So are any of you guys making your own Cowboy butter or something similar? You know, is that part of your regular regimen to level up your steaks? Okay, and while we look at that, Bruce asked me, how did those briskets turn out? So yeah, I did, for New Year's Eve, I did 2 briskets for our church. And so I'll tell you, I did have an issue with one of them. So this is what I did. I smoked both of these briskets on a pellet smoker. I did them overnight. And you know, the rule of thumb is when it comes to the fat side up, fat side down, generally you want your fat to face the heat source. So I did these fat side down, and then when I wrapped them in butcher paper, I flipped them over so that I would finish off the cook with the fat being up. The issue that I ran into was that on one of my briskets, I didn't wrap it well enough. So the meat side was actually exposed. Plus I had increased my set point in the pellet smoker from 200 degrees to 225. So my meat side got more cooked, a little more singed than I had hoped. So I would kind of consider that a learning lesson, to make sure that I'm not being skimpy with my butcher paper and get a good wrap. Or the other alternative would have just been to keep it be fat side down throughout the entire cook. So that was that was a learning lesson for myself on that one. All right, let me jump back in here in the comments. And also, let me take a moment to talk about the Backyard SmokeMaster Society. So if you're enjoying this conversation, you like talking barbecue all the time, and you want to do it in a place that's, you know, away from Facebook, that has a whole lot of distractions, and, you know, you're just getting all kinds of stuff thrown at you on Facebook all the time. I have a private barbecue membership called the Backyard SmokeMaster Society. A couple of members are here in the chat, Jeff, as well as Correctional Officer, and Paul. They're all society brothers. If this is something that you're interested in, definitely invite you to go check us out. Go to backyardsmokemaster.com /society. One of the cool things about it is every month we do have a live virtual meetup session. So it's a lot like the podcast, except the big difference is on the live meetup, we all can turn on our cameras and our mics. We can see each other in real time. If you're cooking, you can show off what you're cooking. So it's a cool interactive experience, and the vibe is very laid back, very much like the podcast, where you've just got guys who love sharing information and resources about barbecue. So if that's something you're interested in, would love to have you check us out, the Backyard SmokeMaster Society. Let's see. Now let me get into some more comments. Okay, Real Meat Stick says, Plowboys Barbecue has joined us. Oh, wow. The maker of Yardbird, Bovine Bold, and Fin and Feather. Okay, so I didn't realize that, but welcome to Plowboys Barbecue. And I'd like to say I would love to talk to you as well. Would love to have you be a guest on my podcast. That's one of my goals for 2025, is to have more guests. And would love to speak to someone like you who markets your own rub. And Yardbird, Bovine Bold, I have personal experience with both of those. So would love to talk to you. If you could, you know, just drop me your contact information on Instagram, or shoot me an email, kenyatta@backyardsmokemaster.com. Would love to talk to you or anyone else who's watching. If you have a barbecue related product that you would like to talk more about, would love to have you on the podcast as a guest. And okay, and Bruce asked this question to Smoke Builder: what is the process for seasoning the smoked Slinger? So earlier in the show, we were talking about the Smoke Builder. We got a lot of excitement about that. The Smoke Slinger, I should say. So definitely, let's get some more information about that. Smoke Builder said, wipe with oil like Pam, or boiled in-seed oil, then run hot 350 degrees for 1 hour. Smoke Builder has a channel, and he has a video all about it over there. So feel free to check that out. Okay, let's keep working our way through this list of the trends for 2025, according to Stephen Raichlen. Okay, so we just talked about, you know, tomahawks everywhere, cowboy butter to level up your steaks, and picanha everywhere is also a hot trend. So would love to know, have you guys done picanha on your smokers? I've tried it a couple of times, but I need to revisit it. And he points out picanha, let's see, definitely, yeah, it's popular at Brazilian steakhouses. And I know there are a lot of videos out on YouTube. I'm thinking you can hang the picanha like in a drum. I think that's a pretty good way to do it. But what makes it pretty cool is he mentions That the picanha is taken from the top sirloin. It has a thick layer of fat, and he says it's one of the world's most flavorful cuts of meat. The Brazilians cut it crosswise into 3-inch strips, which they thread onto rotisserie spits. Now, I haven't tried that, but yeah. So I would love to know if the picanha, do you guys have experience doing that? Real Meat Stick says, I think getting back to this picture up here. So, okay, that's the Cowboy butter. Getting back to this picture, that looks like a 24 karat gold plated ribeye. Salt Bay ain't got nothing on that steak medallion. Yeah, so he's saying basically beef. Sounds like beef. Beef appears to be the hot cut, or the hot protein for 2025, right? Because Steven is talking about doing a whole steer. He's talking about doing the ribeyes and Cowboy butter, picanha. So it looks like, beef is where it's at in 2025, and bone marrow everywhere. So let me see. Let's scroll down here. Sorry if I'm kind of giving you guys whiplash. All right, there's the picanha on the rotisserie spits, and bone marrow everywhere. Let's see. So he's saying with the bone marrow that he would spread buttery nuggets of marrow onto slices of grilled bread, and it's a delicious budget dish. Okay. Now let's see. I admit, no, I haven't quite gone there, but he's saying that restaurants have even started offering bone marrow as a pay-to-play enhancement for steaks, chops, and other dishes. And he mentions a restaurant called Osso Buco in Miami. $19 would get you a side order of bone marrow. Wow. And he gives props to the podcaster extraordinaire Greg Rempe of Barbecue Central for alerting us to that one. So that's interesting as well. That's not a trend that I had thought of. Now, Real Meat Stick says, bone marrow butter on your steak is delicious. And with the picanha, also mentions that picanha is the queen of beef. It's tender, juicy, and delicious. All you need is some grilling salt, Argentinian salt, and an open fire to cook that picanha. So the more that, I'm reading about it and hearing you guys talk about it, I think I need to revisit picanha. I got a rotisserie for my Weber kettle that I really started to get into in 2024. And I can envision myself putting picanha on my rotisserie. I think that would be really good. And of course, I have to ask, because Real Meat Stick said that picanha is the queen of beef. What's the king of beef? I think I know what it is. But would love to know what you guys are considering the king of beef. And he says that with the empty bone marrow boats, which are bones cut lengthwise, make for a great drink shoots for shots of tequila. All right, now we're getting into the versatility, and of course that is going to score some additional points for bone marrow. Rum goes great with something sugary. Steak and salt need a liquor that complements salt, such as the tequila. All right. Real Meat Stick has got a lot of great tips. So I do appreciate you tuning into the podcast and being active in the comments and sharing your knowledge. Okay, so the last hot trend that we can expect for 2025: more barbecue pop-ups and food trucks. Now, our good friend, society brother, Joe Silva, is the first person who comes to mind. You can find him on Instagram at QBelly's Barbecue. Definitely, he went full time. I think he might have started in late 2023, going into 2024. And he'd already been doing barbecue pop-ups, but he also recently bought his first food truck. So he's definitely taking it to the next level. And this just, right in line with what Steven is saying. So Raichlen says, with some notable restaurant closures in 2024 and high prices continuing for brick and mortar barbecue joints, pop-ups, food trucks, and takeout eateries are surging. And I love it, because pop-ups and the trucks, it just gives more opportunity for us to see a variety of maybe even fusions with barbecue. So it doesn't just have to be the standard fare. You can do different things. And my buddy Joe, Q-Belly's Barbecue, I'm thinking of his queso taco, and he's marrying Mexican flavors with barbecue. So that's a prime example of that. Let's see. Francisco says, I think with regard to the picanha, but Francisco says ribeye, although I'm Mexican, so it's fajita for me. Real Meat Stick said, the 40-day USDA prime bone-in ribeye and short loins, porterhouse, and T-bones are the kings of beef. Okay, all right. That's not what I had in mind, so I'm glad that I asked that question, and I can see that. I can see that for sure. When you're talking about steak and beef, absolutely. So that's quite an interesting list. And so, what do you guys think? Are there anything on that list that really stands out? For sure, the comeback of premium charcoal-based cookers seemed to resonate, as we got a lot of discussion in the chat in that arena. Also love the barbecue fusion. I like the pizza, the pizza dedicated pizza cookers is definitely being something to add to a backyard cooking arsenal. So love to know what you guys think about that. And then the pop-ups. So Real Meat Stick says pop-ups are easier to make cash, little overhead, and increased flexibility of menus and location, no rent, little payroll, and almost no utility bills. And Francisco asked, what would you say is the king of beef? So the thought that first came to mind for me was brisket. And I think maybe I think of it that way because I consider smoking a brisket, perfecting a brisket to kind of be like like your Super Bowl event of barbecue, especially if you've gotten into barbecue and you're leveling up and getting better, and you really want to test your skills. I think tackling a brisket is the way to go. But I have no issues with considering, you know, what Meat Stick said is the king of barbecue. I think maybe in terms of flavor, I can see that. Because again, he said that the 40-day USDA prime bone-in ribeye and short loins, porterhouse and T-bones are the kings of beef. So I can absolutely see that as well. All right, guys. So before I get out of here, I also just want to mention, if you do have a pellet smoker, I would highly recommend that you check out Smoking Pecan pellets. These are pellets that are made 100% from pecan shells. And I do have a discount code that will save you 10% off your first order. And I can actually attest, I do have a video where I looked at Smoking Pecans and I compared them to pecan. I think they were Traeger pellets. You could visually just even see the difference in the smoke being produced, you know, with these pellets made from the pecan shells. And, you know, I'm not saying that these are going to give you the same type of smoke flavor you're going to get from cooking with charcoal and obviously with wood. Pellets traditionally have a very light smoke profile, but I think if you do want to level it up a couple of notches, take a look at Smoking Pecans. So check it out. Just use the code Backyard SmokeMaster over at the Smoking Pecan website. Okay, Francisco, I think getting back to that king of beef discussion, says, I can see why you're saying that. I thought you meant the cut, but yes, brisket is the boss level. And Bruce says, for me, the king of beef is Korean beef bulgogi. How do you say? I know I'm not saying that right. I've seen that word, but I have not tried to say it. But you see it up on the screen, bulgogi. I'll just go with that. Ever since I was stationed in South Korea, I have loved Korean barbecue, and Korean barbecue is outstanding. And Real Meat Stick also endorses Smoking Pecan pellets for great flavor. Very interesting product. I enjoy it very much. All right. Well, guys, I really do appreciate your participation today. And again, if this is your first time watching the podcast, I definitely invite you to come back. Again, we try to be live every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Would love to get suggestions from you guys about topics that you would like to see us talk about. And again, I also invite you, if you want to continue the conversation, come on over, check us out in the Backyard SmokeMaster Society barbecue membership community. And yeah, also would love to touch base with some folks here who have connections to the barbecue industry. So again, would love to talk to you and possibly have you be a guest on the show. So again, thank you all for tuning in. This is Kenyatta Robinson. Thanks for watching the Backyard SmokeMaster Barbecue Podcast. Take care. Have a great weekend. Get out there, enjoy your smokers, and have a great time. Barbecue makes the folks around us happy, and it's just, I think it's a wonderful pastime. So I hope you delve it deepen your knowledge, your passion, and continue to barbecue and share the knowledge. Absolutely share the knowledge. All right, take care. I'll see you guys soon.